Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see for Wandering Towers or any other game. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're wizards on towers. We're going to be trying to moving around and get into the Raven's Keep. We're also going to be trying to imprison other players' wizards, filling our potions, being able to use those to cast new spells. Today we're taking a look at Wandering Towers. This is a family game from Capstone Games. This is designed by Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer. They are a dynamic duo, one of the best designer duos ever. Let me show you how it plays and I'll see you on the other side. In Wandering Towers, you'll be a wizard of a specific color, and you're trying to get all your wizards into the Raven's Keep, but you'll also have potions of your color that you are trying to fill and then use for special abilities. So we have the game set up for 3 players, and what you're trying to do is get all of your wizards in the Raven's Keep. But the Raven's Keep's going to be moving every time somebody gets added to it, and also these towers are going to be moving around. So you're trying to get all your wizards in, and you're trying to get all of your potions filled. First one to do that, it's a race, will win. You have 3 cards in your hand. On your turn, normally you're going to play 2 cards right in a row and do what it says. This one will allow you to move any tower 1 space. Everything's clockwise by default. This one will allow you to move any of your wizards 2 spaces. This one will allow you to move either one of your wizards 5 spaces or a tower 1 space. So let's say we do this, we move this tower 1 space. We go in the discard pile. So let's say we take this tower that has us on top and we go 1 space. What this does is it will be trapping these wizards in it. So these players better be paying attention because there is a little bit of a memory element here. Now when you do that, regardless of how many wizards you imprisoned, you will flip one of these over. That's how to get this here. Remember, that's one of your win conditions is you need to have all of these at least flipped and or used, because once these are used during your turn, you can use them for special abilities I'll show later, but you have a second move to do. Now here I can move a wizard 2, or I can move a wizard 5, or move a tower 1. Now, if you move a tower, you have a choice to make. If I want to move this tower, I could move this one here, just this top one, and move it like this, which I probably wouldn't really want to do. But if I was one of the ones that was imprisoned down here, I might want to move that, for example. And if you pick a tower up, you move everything above it. Sometimes these things are stacked huge. So if I was one of the ones that was imprisoned, or even maybe imprisoned underneath, because sometimes there'll be people on the ground, you'd take the whole tower and move it. And that's a big part of the strategy of the game, is which towers to move. It's almost like Camel Up, where you grab one level and you move everything up that and above. You cannot peek though. You have to say which level you're moving beforehand. But in this case, let's just say I move my wizard 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's down there. Now again, somebody else might move a tower, imprison them, and get something, and I gotta sort of remember that he's there. Now sometimes you'll have cards like this. There's a die that comes in the game, and you would roll the die, and you would move the wizard or the tower that much in that case. But after you take 2 actions with your cards, it goes to the next player, and you draw back up to 3 cards. Now let's say over the course of the game, let's say I've got 2 of these done. Now on your turn, you can cast 1 spell. Now for your first game, it recommends these 2 spells. You spend 2 potions, you essentially discard them out of the game. It says wizard +1, you can move any wizard 1 space clockwise. Or you can spend 1 potion and move any tower 2 spaces clockwise. And they stay here, people can use them throughout the game, that they're not used one-time use or anything like that. And once you use these, again, they're out of the game. And remember, what you're trying to do is get these potions filled and or use them, because as long as you have no unfilled potions at the end, if you get all your wizards in, you'll win. Now, both of those conditions have to happen. You have to have all your potions filled and or used, and you have to get your wizards in there. You can do one before the other. It doesn't matter which one you do first, but as soon as someone does that, they win. Now, let's say it came back around to my turn, and I had to move 2. I could go 1, 2, and I drop them in there. That's great. Again, you're trying to get all your wizards in there and get your potions finished to win, but then the Raven's Keep will move to the next Raven space. Now there's a timing element to this, because as soon as you place someone in there, that ends your turn. So you don't want to do that on your first of 2 turns, because you're kind of wasting things. But anyways, you go to the next Raven's Keep that's not occupied. That would be this one, because some of the spots, you might be able to see it right there. So this one would go here. But let's say there was a person here or a tower there. It wouldn't go there. It would go to the next one. So you go to the next one that's empty. It's right here. Look at that. Sometimes it's going to be going on top of towers like that. And that's pretty much how the game works in a nutshell. Now there's other special abilities you can use in the game. This one is, you move a wizard backwards 1, so counterclockwise. This one is you free a wizard. You take, you lift any one tower and you free your wizard to the top. And if that top happens to be the Raven Keep, it's in there. That's great. This one is moving towers backwards. This one is swapping the 2 tops of towers, even with the people that are in them. This is moving the Raven's Keep 1 space clockwise or counterclockwise. to the next empty space. Doesn't have to be a raven space. And this is piggybacking, so if you move one of your people, you can spend it to move another one with it. You can also play on another player's turn to go along with somebody else. Now, it says to use 2 of these at the beginning of the game, but it says for a more exciting game, you can use more. I always just use every single one of these. The 2 I already showed you and all of these, it really just opens up the game for a lot more tactics and a lot more thinking. It doesn't really overburden it as well. Now, if you're ever stuck and you don't have the right cards, you can always forego both of your actions to move 1 tower or 1 wizard 1 spot. That gets you out of tough spots when you don't get the right draw. That's pretty much it. First one to get all your wizards in, get all your potions filled and or used is the winner. You can also play teams with other players. You get all your people in first, then you can move the other players' people. Once all your wizards are in, you win. There's also a solo version that's just about a solo puzzle going through and trying to get the highest points. All right, now before I get to my final thoughts, I want to let you know that if you like my content, there's now ways to get bonus content like first impression videos well before a review will come out, or for many games I don't even end up reviewing. You can even vote for which games get reviewed on the channel. You can also see me opening up packages and getting content earlier than everyone else. And now you can see what you're missing with a free 7-day trial at patreon.com/GameBoyGeek. All right, first thing I like about this is table presence. By the way, my bias is here. I tend to like Kiesling and Kramer games. So table presence, it looks cool. It does take a little while to put together all those towers first time, but once they're together, they can stay together in the box. They figured out a way to make that happen. That's kind of cool. So just the first time setup that kind of stinks, but after that, everything looks great. Table presence is awesome. You get these towers on the board, you get the Ravens Keep on the board, you get these wooden wizards on the board, you get these towers that are stacking sometimes huge amounts of, really high up on the board. It's fun, and people are going to stop and look and ask you what the heck you're playing. I like that this is sort of a card-driven puzzle, almost like a rondel where you're kind of going around in one direction most of the time. You're playing cards, you're trying to use those simple 2 actions, move wizards or move towers, but you're trying to use them in the right timing to get things to work. And so I like that sort of card-driven puzzle there. I like that you're trying to balance moving your wizard or your tower, right? Because you have certain cards, you're trying to figure out which one to do when, you're trying to figure out the timing of things, but you're also trying to balance that because you need to get all your potions filled and you need to get all your wizards in. And so you got to find the right opportunities. This game is very tactical. You can't really do a lot of planning on other people's turns. You can have an idea what you think you might be doing next turn, but most likely you're going to have to change your idea. Probably even in the turn just before you will change it, and you'll have to change your idea. So it's a very tactical game. What am I going to do right now? But you are trying to balance because it's a little easier to get to imprison wizards and get potions earlier in the game, as there's obviously more out on the board. As they start getting in the Ravens Keep, less opportunities. So you're trying to sort of fill up your potions a little bit faster than moving your wizards in, but you don't want to give up the opportunities of moving them in as well. So I like that balance there. I like when you're moving towers, similar to like in Camel Up, you move a bottom camel and everybody goes along with it. Same with the towers. You could have a tower of 5 of them stacked up, and you just move the top 3, and you move it along, and you've freed some of your wizards, and you've maybe imprisoned somebody else's and gotten your potion filled, and it's just kind of fun to sort of move those towers away. Not just the top one, but anything above it goes with it. I like that. It's just kind of fun. It works well. I like the potion abilities. And again, as I mentioned in the overview, don't just use the 2. Maybe if you're playing with kids for your first game, but if you're playing with gamers, throw them all in right away. Sure, you'll need the rules. The backside of the rules has all the abilities. They're not that hard to look at. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. But it does really add a lot to the game. If you play this with just the 2 abilities and you're gamers, you're going to think this is way too light. Now granted, even with all of them in there, this is not a heavy game. It's still very light, but it does give you a lot of different levers to pull in tactical spots and does make the game a lot better. So try it with all of the abilities being available for you to use. I like the wide player count. I've played it at low and high player counts. Because the turns move so fast, play a card, I'm going to move a wizard. Play a card, I'm going to move a tower. Next person. Even when playing 5 or 6 players, the game still moves fast. Now, the things I didn't like about it, I don't typically like memory elements in games, and I don't like it here. However, it doesn't kill the game for me, and it doesn't take it from me not recommending it for you, because when you're tracking these wizards, a couple of things. Number one is you're typically you have multiple wizards, right? And so typically if you forgot where one is, it'll turn up later at some point, it will. So you can focus on the other wizards. However, and if there's more players playing, you're actually gonna have less wizards. If you have less wizards, it's easier to keep track of which ones, where they are. If you're playing a 2-player game and you have a bunch of wizards, it's hard to keep track of, but you also have more of them, which means if you forget one, there's probably plenty of other things you can do. So it sort of self-balances itself in my dislike for the aspect there. But there might be a time where your last wizard is stuck somewhere and you just really can't figure out, and that can be somewhat frustrating. But it is part of the game. It's a part I don't like, but it is there. But it doesn't kill the game because of all the things I just mentioned. One thing I don't like is you have to play specific colors with specific player counts. The first game I saw do this was 5 Tribes, and I hated it. You had to play blue or pink if you were playing a 2-player game. I hated that. I don't want to play blue, and I don't want to play pink. In this, you got to play blue or yellow if you're playing a 2-player game. And I think it adds red if you're playing a 3-player game, right? I want to play purple. What, I've got to be playing either a 5 or 6-player game, I think, to play purple? I think that's dumb. Great. I get why they're doing it. They got to keep the cost down to get it where it is. Can you have cut the cost somewhere else? Maybe? Like, I just don't get that. I hate it when games force you into a color for a specific player count. Stop doing this. Cut costs somewhere else, please. I know it's way easier said than done. But last thing, solo mode. I played it solo. This is not a robust solo mode. That's sort of like a term in the thing now where there's actually a real solo game. There's not. You're basically just playing until you get all your people in, and how many cards do you use to get there. It is a solo challenge. It is a puzzle. The puzzle will evolve, but it's not that engaging. People that really like solo games, I think this is here just to say we have a solo game, but it's not that good. But overall, the game is excellent. The package good, the production's good, it's streamlined, it's fun. It's a great family game that I have played with just gamers, and everyone has liked it. So this is one of those, those things where you can play with people that don't play a lot of games. They'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. You can play with a gamer friends on a sort of a lighter note. Little end of the, the little bit longer filler game, 30 to 45 minutes, and it works there too. So I think this game has a lot of merit and a lot of ways you can use it, and that's what I think about Wandering Towers. It's been a Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games by helping you on the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.